going? Welcome back to the shop. Today we're going to do a recap on Patoka Lake. We had a couple tournaments. We had the IBF and we had the BFL. I'm going to basically talk about both, but I kind of fished them the same way. There was a lot of people that were cranking in this tournament. The fish were really spread out. So the water temp was like mid 50s, and as soon as we had a couple warm days, it would warm up, and then we'd get a couple cold days and it would drop it back down, or the cold nights would really drop it back down. So it really never warmed up to where they needed to be to spawn. The fish, you could tell the fish were, the females were full of eggs. They were really ready to spawn, but the water temperature just wasn't quite right. So in order to fish the tournaments, I just basically covered a lot of water and tried to run into some. I really struggled during the tournament. We had bluebird skies and not a whole lot of wind, and they were biting decent in practice like they always do, and then in the tournament it just got slick calm and it got a little tough. Like I said, a lot of guys were cranking, and I was also cranking, and I was also flipping any cover that I could find on the water. We got a little bit of rain leading into both of those tournaments. Before the first tournament, it came up like 3/4 of a foot. Before the next tournament, I think it went from 532.7 to 533.2. So it came up about a half a foot on the BFL, but the water was still it was only about a foot higher than winter pool. There really wasn't a lot of cover in the water. So basically what I would do is I would take my tube and I basically flip any little bitty piece of cover that I could find. As I was going down the bank, if I came across like a stump or a laydown or just a twig or anything, I'd flip that tube in there. A lot of those fish were setting up on that piece of cover because there was so little of cover. And also, as far as cranking, I threw a rattle trap a little bit, but I also threw square bill, a Spro Little John, things like that. But the majority of my bites came on this Spro rock crawler, and I threw 3 different colors. This is the one I threw in the tournament. Pretty much any of the colors that I threw, they would bite. This is the one I chose during the tournament because it was bright, sunny, and this is a little bit more translucent. That water really didn't get as muddy as I expected with all the heavy rains that we got. So this is more a little translucent color that allows the fish to see it, and it's not too bold in the that clearer water. But as far as my rod and reel setup for flipping, I was using a 7-foot medium heavy custom light Lew's rod and reel, and then I used a Team Lew's reel. The reel was a 7.5 to 1 gear ratio, and I used 15-pound Berkeley fluorocarbon. But as far as the tube, it was just a standard green pumpkin tube with a 5/16 ounce weight that I pegged on the front of it, and I used a 3/0 laser trocar tube hook. Like I said, I just flipped that tube around and just flipped it around any type of wood or some rock or anything that looked good on the bank as I was cranking down the bank. If I saw something I wanted to fish a little slower, I'd flip that too. As far as the rod and reel for cranking, I used the Custom Pro reel, which was also a 7.5 to 1 gear ratio. That allowed me to cover a lot of water because, like I said, those fish were very spread out, and I wanted to cover the water as much as I could in order to hopefully run into some fish and be more efficient that way. But I threw 12-pound fluorocarbon on that, and I threw it with a 10XD cranking rod. I bought this rod for deep cranking, but it really works well for smaller crankbaits too. And like I said, the bait that I used was a Spro rock crawler, and I think this is a Phantom green or Phantom brown color is what I threw in the tournament. But I also threw a spring crawl, green crawl, red crawl. I threw multiple different colors, and they all seem to get bit in practice, and this is just kind of what I ended up throwing in the tournament. But I replaced the hooks with size 4 round bend Gamakatsu hooks, and those are like sticky sharp. So I really like to put those on the night before the tournament. That way I know that if I get a bite, they'll stay on and they'll stay loaded up. I actually caught a big smallmouth, a 4-pound smallmouth on this bait in the tournament and the BFL. Patoka's been fishing really tough this spring, and I'm not sure what that's all about, if it's the low water or if it's just the weird weather conditions with it, the temperatures going up and down. But we had a few really warm days. It's 80 degrees today, so I'm thinking eventually those fish will pull up and spawn here in the next day or so, and it'll definitely be fishing a lot different than it was. But like I said, this spring's been a little tough on me. Next BFL is at Rocky Point on May 11th. That's going to be a lot different. It's going to be obviously shallow Ohio River fishing. We're going to do a lot of flipping, do a lot of spinner baits, crankbaits, pretty much 3 or 4 foot or less, and hopefully we can catch them better in that one. If you like this video, be sure to like and subscribe, and hopefully we'll see you guys next time.